All right. How's it going there, Mr. 411? You look so serious.
Man, the NBA, man, it doesn't stop, Zach.
It does not.
Keep us on our toes. I
Uh,
get information. I get information through the Zach hotline that um, Donovan Mitchell is a Cavalier, and all this time, a lot of us, a lot of people, including myself, thought he would be a New York Knick, and Cleveland just stepped in and said, "Hey, wait a minute, we're gonna change the game here," and they made the move. So that prompted us to get together, man, and chop it up about some things. It's been kind of hectic with the fantasies stuff going on and everything else, and the holiday weekend coming up. It was like, well, let's get some content out here before the weekend festivities.
Sounds good, and you are correct. This is I'm not sure the Cavaliers, I guess, probably were mentioned by some experts, but I don't know how serious it was because I think everybody thought Mitchell to New York would happen somehow, some way.
Yes, sir. So this is I don't know what to even call it, man. We just chopping it up. Sports Brothers chopping this up real quick, and just wanted to get some things out, man. And it's like, wow, so much is happening uh, that 411 and Zach need to get out here and put something out here on video. So, man, let's go ahead and talk about it, man. Already, man, Donovan Mitchell traded from the Jazz to the Cavs. Wasn't surprised that he was going to get traded because just the other day he took his out of the Twitter, whatever you call it, Twitter handle or something like that, whatever they call it. He took the Jazz shooting guard or whatever his title was on there. He took that down. So that pretty much was a sign that he was going to get dealt. But man, the Cleveland, that's interesting, is that?
Well, once the Jazz got rid of Rudy Gobert, that kind of signals that you're trying to do a rebuild, or yeah, I guess you could say rebuild or restart, however you want to do it. And it's I think in the NBA, you either want to be a team that can contend for the championship or you want to be contending for the top lottery spot. You don't want to be in the middle. And we saw that for many years with the Hawks, that they were, they'd be that 8, 7 seed team. So you make the playoff and all of that is good, but then you're not good enough to win the championship, but at the same time, you're not good enough to be in contention for a top pick that's going to be a difference maker. So this is good by the Cavs. And look, they're a small market team, and let's be real. Nobody, I can't think of anyone significant that has signed with the Cavaliers as a free agent. So it wouldn't matter how much cap space the Cavs have, but who's going there as a free agent. So they give up some assets to trade for a guy that I'm assuming he wants to play for them. But if he didn't want to play for them, he wouldn't be there, right? Um,
Absolutely.
So I'm assuming like this isn't against his wishes that they smooth this out, and just kind of looking at their starters, they'll have Garland. I believe that's no, that's probably Mitchell you have up, and you got it. So they'll have Garland, Mitchell. Um, is it Isaac Oroko? Ain't that the kid out of Auburn?
Well,
Mobley
they'll have
from
well
USC
they'll
and
have him in the
Allen.
rot. Yeah, they'll have him in the rotation, but they'll have, like you said, they have Allen, they'll have Mobley, and a lot of chatter in the NBA, Zach, is that from a lot of people in the league, they think Mobley is going to be a Hall of Famer at some point in time.
I
So,
do
'cause-
keep hearing people talk highly about Mo. Like everybody seems to like Mobley. I guess
yeah,
we'll see it as it plays out. They still have Kevin Love coming off the
yep,
bench, and they'll have Karis LeVert.
yeah, yeah, and Levert's a scorer. If he doesn't do anything else, he knows how to put the ball in the basket, and that fits right in with Mitchell, another guy who can put it in the basket. So it's a good move for Cleveland, man. That definitely solidifies them as a playoff team,
Well, he's
for
their
sure.
star. I know
Yeah,
Garland. I think Garland made the All Star team last year, and maybe Allen made it also.
yeah,
But but they were maybe they're kind of fringe All Stars that depending on how well the team does, and maybe I'm not giving Garland enough credit. But Mitchell is a kind of like legit all star slash possible all NBA type player.
Yeah, he's on
So
that path.
he's good for them to have, if for nothing else, just to have because they wouldn't be able to get him. And
It's
what?
kind of like having Trey Young in Atlanta. If you get it.
Yes, and they probably now they should be at a minimum of 4 or 5 seed, right? Like I probably wouldn't tell you that they're ahead of the Bucks. I wouldn't take them over the Nets. I probably wouldn't take them over Boston. Uh, I would, in my mind, they could compete with Philadelphia. I don't think Philadelphia has overwhelming talent that they couldn't do it because Cleveland, even last year, Cleveland has a quality roster of players.
Yeah, they have a young team as well, and that's the key. Um,
Yes.
with this move, there's a couple teams that we wouldn't put them over the top right now, but as the Nets age out, as the Sixers age out, you know what I mean? You'll be down to the Bucks, depending on where if Giannis is still there, you'll have the Bucks still there near the top, but the Cavs can position themselves to be in the top three in the East in the near future if their players develop as they predict, as they project them to do. And, the Mitchell move helps them get to that point. So if I'm a Cleveland fan, I'm happy today. And,
Yeah.
I'm getting the Mitchell jersey. I'm there because it, this season they're going to be super competitive. I think they can beat most of the teams in the East. They can. Not saying they will, but they
No,
have
I
that type
understand
of
what you're
team.
saying. Like
Yeah, they have
if
that type of
depending on
roster.
how they gel, depending on how things break in the playoffs,
Yep.
injuries or what have you, kind of like Boston getting through, depending on how the
Yeah.
coach does. I mean, this was, and I like they gave up 3 unprotected first round draft picks, and then I think 2 pick swaps.
Yeah.
And what you have to wonder, and I'm not mad that the Knicks didn't do this because I don't think Donovan Mitchell is the best player, and we've seen it. He's not the best player on a championship team. Hell, he's not the best player on a conference, uh, a conference appearing team based on what has happened in Utah. Like he's a get you to the second round in the East. Maybe he's a get you to the conference finals. So I get why the Knicks, you shouldn't give up all of your assets. You made so many bad decisions. But this is probably going to look bad for the Knicks. I can see Stephen A, if he isn't already on ESPN tomorrow, he's going to talk about how horrible his Knicks are, why they didn't give up the picks or what have you. And I just kind of think if you're the Knicks, you should be able to get free agents if you're the Knicks. Like you should be an attractive enough market if you get your organization together that you should be able to sign players and then you should be able to, fill in with your first round picks. Whereas Cleveland, that's it. Outside LeBron, and LeBron was, I don't know if he counts because he was drafted by Cleveland and then came back there as a free agent. Tell me who the big free agent that the Cavs have. So who cares if they give up their picks? And for them, uh, what is it? 16 teams make the playoffs, and I guess you go to five, but we just going.
Plus
Their pick
plus the
should be late
10.
20s. Their pick should be late 20s. I'm sorry, late teens, early 20s at worst, because they got to expect to make the playoffs, and I'm assuming they expect to be second round. So mid 20s for your pick, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you when you make trades, you're making it basing the team that you're improving your roster.
Yes.
Unless you're one of those teams that's making trades to tank, if you will. But yeah, if things break the way that the Cavs plan on it doing, breaking, they'll be fine. They have an excellent coach as well. Like the Cavaliers did a nice job. I think
Yeah.
the league and the casual fan of the NBA really missed on the Cavs right now. Like they snuck in here because they were slowly rebuilding. Since LeBron went when LeBron left and went to the Lakers, they slowly rebuilt this franchise, and they kind of did it in a way that like the Oakland A's, the Moneyball teams, they did this in a nice, smooth way and set themselves up for a long play here. And I'm curious to see how it turns out. Obviously, in my opinion, I think this, as long as they get one championship, it's a done deal. Like if they can get one out of this new era, if you will, but if they make the playoffs and go deep consistently, that's a win as well. So that's pretty much the high end of it for me with this, with them making this move.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go championship. They can make a conference. I mean, I'm sorry, NBA Finals. They definitely are overachieving. But I would expect, and I'm gonna kind of go like you did. This is a long play that you at least make a. No, I'll stick with. Excuse me. They need to at least make a conference final. I'm sorry, NBA final. Like
And when we
that would
yeah
be success.
yeah, and what we're saying is we're talking. We're not even predicting when it's going to happen. We're not talking next year, but just over time, they should
Yeah,
be positioning themselves to be there.
like you said, they have a good group, and I it's different, but I kind of equate it to what the Timberwolves did because the
Yeah,
Timberwolves swung for with Rudy Gobert because they realized, hey, um, they don't necessarily have the depth. I don't think that the Cavs have on their roster, but they have three dudes, two of them in particular, uh, that are probably upper level NBA guys, and they're like, let's put these guys in the best position to compete for a championship or maximize their potential right now. So we'll go get Rudy Gobert. We'll give up all these picks. We don't care because
yeah.
we should be, you know,
Time to cash
playing
in, buddy.
late into the playoffs, and that's good. And like looking at Utah, because I'm not Sexton. I know Sexton has some fans. We have some guys that were previous to this year. They were really touting Sexton or whatever.
Yeah,
Sexton's not a bad player, but once again, if he's your best player, kind of like what we saw with the Cavs, you're not going to have the success in as far as maybe it, making it to the playoffs and doing things of that nature. But he's a good piece. Now, this is gonna sound crazy because Utah got him and then they gave him a 4 year, $72 million deal. But that's perfect for Utah
yeah,
because with him being kind of like your guy, you're gonna be competing at the top of the draft for the best of the talent.
yeah.
So uh, I was gonna say they probably need to get rid of Conley, but Conley gets injured so much that maybe you don't need to get rid of him. You put in what Bogdanovich. They got Lowry marketing, which isn't bad.
No, that's
And then
good.
they like so you're not fielding a terrible team. If like the fans have some guys they can actually come out and watch, but especially in the West, I don't expect them to
Yeah,
compete for much of anything outside of the top pick in the draft. And if you could do that for kind of like what was it Philadelphia did with their damn what was that they were doing trust the process or whatever it
yeah,
was. uh,
yeah,
you do that for 2 or 3 years, and I know everybody. Uh, and Stephen A. always gets on, and I forget who the GM was. It did that or whatever. But the Rockets, I want to say, isn't this how we got to the lottery? Because the Rockets somehow did it where they got Elijah and Ralph Sampson in back-to-back years, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, we need to go to a lottery system or what have you, so we don't have to have teams tanking and they get the best thing." So good for them.
yeah,
This is good for the Jazz because I'll say with them. I mean, what free agent is trying to go to Utah? Like, tell me the big name free agent they've gotten also. So
yeah.
this is
But
how
you,
you
if
have
you
to do it. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I say Utah's a system too. So they, with Quinn there, they have a system in place, and they have the type of players that can still execute that system. They'll be competitive, as long as they're in the, a competitive team. I'm sure Danny Ainge wants them to bottom out, okay?
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
he wants to get the victim, Wama, whatever whatever his name is,
Is that
but
the French kid?
yeah, the seven. It actually is a Rudy Gobert height, length guy with Kevin Durant's skills, and he probably has Kevin Durant's weight as well. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, he's definitely a talent. I mean, all the teams are salivating to get him, and they'll do whatever they can. And I think, as now that we just had this conversation, Utah's in the picture for that. So,
Yeah. Uh,
like they can
Kudos to
definitely turn
kudos to
things
their
around.
plan.
In marketing, volleyball player, athlete, excellent player. He was, he didn't quite pan out due to injuries and stuff at the way that people thought he would. But hey, that's actually a steal. And Sexton, this is a great way for him to, get plenty of run now, and and see where he lands in the NBA. But he's a good player as well. So Utah will be fine. The people out in Salt Lake City area, they love that franchise. They're going to support that team. That's their team. If you look at the college type scene, Utah would be one of those type teams. Sacramento, and they love their team, so they're going to support them anyway. And they'll live out that process, and they're not worried about the microwave fix there. But yeah, man, this is good, man. NBA did it again. Um,
And
you know,
and in fairness to both of those players, I think marketing will be this will be his 25-year-old season, and Sexton will turn 24.
yeah, they're
They're
young.
still young. Like
Yeah,
we always want guys to instantly be what they are, but we gotta remember, like Michael Jordan didn't win in the '80s. It does take some guys time to, um, if not pop, but really find their role.
yeah,
Jamal Crawford, Jamal, like it took him a minute, and once he went to that 6 man role, perfect for him.
yeah. He
And I
flourished.
do
Yeah,
the same. Who's our buddy? Lou Williams,
yeah,
or Hot
yeah,
Pepper, or
yeah.
Lemon
Lemon pepper Lou,
Pepper.
and hey man, those lemon peppers are good too. I tried
Oh,
some.
absolutely.
Yeah. So if you know where to go find them at. They're good though. I'm gonna tell you that now. Really good. But yeah,
Yes.
but you're right. Those act like a lot of players have to develop. We talked about that for years, man. Everybody's not going to be LeBron James, Shaq, Magic. Just come right out of the Wilt Chamberlain, just come right out of there and out of the shoot and just dominate. Like a lot of players, majority of the league consist of, and we're talking on the NBA or NFL professional level. A
Yeah.
lot of players are very good players at that level. And then you have the minute few that are just the what would you call them, stars. And then you got a even smaller amount that are just elite. And so,
Absolutely.
so everybody has to find their way. And this is good, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually looking forward to the Minnesota Timberwolves versus Utah Jazz. I want to just see. I mean, I'm sorry, Cleveland Cavaliers against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I want to see how all that plans out, because they kind of let it die out a little bit, but there was some things back and forth between Mitchell and Gobert, especially if you go back to
Yes.
going back to the COVID situation. So it'll be
Absolutely.
good to see these guys play against each other. So we'll
Well,
see.
I want to. I'm interested to see how this plays out for all three franchises. Say, 4, 5, 6 years down the road to
Yep.
see. Okay, did these moves work? Because depending on how they do work, this may be the blueprint for what teams do in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's definitely it's starting to feel like a shift where the league is going to shift back to where uh, management is going to kind of operate their teams, and we'll see how that looks. But if you have quality management, it's a good thing. But we'll see, Zach.
Absolutely.
Oh man, a little baseball talk, man. Look, something came across my line about what's his name? Oh, Tony? Is that how you say his name? Tony?
Shohei, I think Atani. Yes.
Yeah, man. The first player in Major League Baseball history to hit 30 home runs and win 10 games as a pitcher in the same season. Like this guy, man. When you talk about a two-way player, I mean, this guy's getting it done. Um, Man, to be able to pitch at that level and hit at the level that he's hitting, that's amazing, man. So, I just want to throw his name out there today. And
I,
man, I wish he was a Met. I'll tell you that.
well, I saw that come across yesterday, and I was like shocked only because I would have thought that way way back in the early stages of baseball that somebody would have hit 30 homers and won 10 games. So baseball is definitely one of those sports that is a kind of number sport. I think versus like basketball or whatever, like the Wilt averaging 50 points and getting 100 in a game, people get excited about that in the NBA, but they don't really care too much. Like they don't dwell on it. Just like the Kobe 81, we don't dwell on. In the NFL, nobody really cares if you 5,000 yard season or the 2,000 yard season. But in baseball, when you have those kind of like this 30 and 10, that will probably be something they talk about years down the road, or like 61.
Yeah,
So good for him, and you are correct. I do think, and this sucks to say it, but it's kind of like what the Jazz did. The Angels might really need to think about trading Otani. No, like for real, you
yeah.
trade Otani
Get a
and you
ton of
trade Trout.
prospects.
Yes, because you have them, and you're not making the playoffs, and it doesn't really matter what you pay a guy in baseball, but you might as well go on and do what the Jazz are doing if you're not going to make the playoffs where you have these guys, and just maybe you'll get in enough prospects that you can do it. And I, they may not be thinking about it as of right now, but if you are the Mets, and that seems like a city Otani would be able to play in or be comfortable because it's a diverse. It feels like it's more diverse than say Atlanta, which I would love for him to go to. He's in California, so if he's going to leave someplace like that where he can be in a diverse atmosphere, might be appealing to him.
Yeah,
Uh, and if not them, of course, the Yankees. But shoot your shot. And if the Mets can't get him, I know their owner has a lot of money, Mike Trout. I wouldn't mind Atlanta trying to go after Mike Trout, though we're probably pretty full on everything that we have. And it's a good thing to look at and see how things might go. So, yeah, uh, that is a great job by him. And hopefully, uh, people will recognize what he has done appropriately.
yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Well, man, my Mets and your Braves is tight. The race is tight. Um, I think winning the division is going to be important this year, man. It's
Uh,
going to definitely slot you in a better spot, in my opinion. Doesn't guarantee anything, but it looks like being winning the East is going to mean something here. So we definitely got to keep an eye on this down the stretch and see how it go. Right
yep.
now, I can just speak on the Mets, man. The bats are not really clicking. That's going to be an issue. But right now, what's saving the team is the pitching, and so those 1-0 to 1s and 2-1 victories right now is what's getting it done. The only problem with that is if the pitching ain't on that night, it's going to be tough. So, but that's what's keeping the team in there. So it's an interesting race, man. The Braves have been cooking. They've been hot, man. So we'll see how that turns out. You know what? Matter of fact, they have a series in Atlanta at the end of September, and
Correct.
I may have to, show my face for one of those games.
You should. I do think this may be the advantage because if you win the East, the loser of the East is gonna have to play the best wild card team, which right now is the Phillies. They got Bryce Harper back. I mean, it definitely wouldn't be an easy out for anybody. Then after that, you go on. If you win, you get the Dodgers.
Man,
So this is bad for the Dodgers in the sense that the Dodgers will get the third best team, which typically you would think that the division winner will be better than a wild card team, but that is not the case. Whereas the second place team that wins the East, regardless of whatever, they get the easier path because they get I want to say they get a wild card team. No, no, no. I'm sorry. They get the division winner, but that's going to be St. Louis. You probably rather play St. Louis than play the Dodgers or play the Braves, and probably rather play them than play the Phillies. So I'm with you. This is pretty. Uh, Winning the East really means something this year, but I kind of as much as I wouldn't want it to happen, and I've been kind of waiting for us to take back over. Uh, DeGrom and Scherzer. Like once DeGrom came back, I want to say he beat the Dodgers last night 2-1. And I know
Yeah.
you're kind of sort of worried about the pitching, but I, old school Braves fan with Glavine,
91.
Maddox, and Smoltz.
Yeah.
I'd rather have that pitching than worry about the bats. And you're used to good old Doc Gooden that won y'all that World Series back in the '80s, so you should care about pitching more than the bats too. Though y'all did have a pretty good offensive
Yeah.
lineup. I mean, offensive lineup went bad either.
Yeah. We only had Darryl Strawberry, Howard Johnson, Mookie Wilson, Keith Hernandez, Carter, uh, Carter at catcher, and Kevin Mitchell, and you know what I'm saying. Just had a couple guys that could hit,
Yeah,
but
probably got you a few runs.
yeah. And did I mention Darryl Strawberry? But yeah, Darryl
Yes.
Strawberry. So, yeah. But anyway, man, like, yeah, we're gonna see how it go. Um, but yeah, it's baseball, man, and we'll keep an eye on that as well. I know we talk a lot of football and basketball here, but we watch our baseball too.
Oh, absolutely. It's almost October. That's the time for baseball.
Absolutely. All right, man. College football tonight, man. Thursday night, it's a loaded schedule. It's not like one or two games. I mean, it's like a Saturday schedule. It makes me wonder how many college teams are there. I mean, with with so many games being played Thursday, and then we're gonna turn around with Saturday, and then Sunday and Monday this weekend. Man, I know you're gonna be in football heaven. Um,
Absolutely.
I'll be watching too, but I'm also I got some major wrestling events coming up this weekend. You got Clash at the Castle on Saturday. Roman Reigns, he's like 700 plus days consecutive as undisputed unified champion. He's going over to Wales overseas to he's going to be on the road, if you will, against Drew McIntyre back in his home country, and they're playing at a soccer stadium out there. 60,000 will be there. 60,000 people will be there rooting for Drew McIntyre. So we'll see if Roman can hold off Drew McIntyre. And then on Sunday you got Worlds Collide. I mean that's the NXT brand. Their brand, all their titles are going up on the line against the NXT European wrestlers. So man, it's gonna be a big weekend for that. But anyway, back to college football. So tonight, man, what you got, man? I'll pull the slate up and just talk about some games that you're interested in.
Well, first, I would say I see what they're doing, and it's smart. This is most of these teams' first game of the season. If they play tonight, you get the extended weekend or whatever before next week. So that is good for everybody. Probably want to look at West Virginia, Pittsburgh, the old UGA quarterback, which that I didn't love too much, but Orion was all into until we won with Stetson Bennett. JT Daniels will be the starter for West Virginia.
Oh, okay. I'll watch
So
that.
this guy was a 5-star, and this is where it comes in. Sometimes the ratings don't tell you everything, but he'll have an opportunity if you want to go lower level to really prove what he can do. And this is kind of he's coming up on his last opportunities to get stuff done. And the other game that I would say sticks out for me is Penn State Purdue. James Franklin, he did a phenomenal job at Vanderbilt. Now it could have just been that sometimes you just get in the right place at the right time and it just works out for you. But he was really good at Vanderbilt, and I would probably tell you that even though Penn State gave him the extension, they're less than satisfied with his results because based on what he did at Vanderbilt, you probably thought you'd be contending for conference championship every year. So this is probably a big year for him to really get back in it. And I say he has a contract, but um, if he doesn't succeed here, he may not get another job as good as Penn State.
Wow. Well, They did say that this is a big matchup, so and it's on Fox at 8
Yeah.
p.m. So I'm definitely going to flip over to that channel and watch some of that game. Um, my dad's school, South Carolina State, they're playing Central Florida tonight. Heavy underdogs, but I'll be watching. I'm going to take a look at that matchup um, as they just, test themselves early in the season before they get into their MEAC, schedule. What's another game out here, Zach? I think you mentioned Wake Forest earlier.
Uh,
Was that another one?
they're playing. They
Just,
are, and I want to say they're ranked number 22. They're playing VMI. So,
team to look
uh,
at.
I mean, I don't want to be mean or anything, but a lot of times just because teams are D1, all D1s are not created equal. And I'd say Wake Forest, Vanderbilt, even Stanford that are, and put Duke in there too, that are kind of where they have the higher academic standards, Northwestern, for players to get in. Every victory you can get is good because in many ways you're just trying to get to that 6 win threshold so you can make a bowl game. Anything beyond that is cake. So it'll be good for them to see how they perform. And uh, we didn't really get a chance to talk about, but I want to say Vanderbilt put up 63 or 60 plus points on Hawaii.
Oh yeah,
That
on
is like
week 0.
that is good for them. Like it's not sometimes just about winning it either, but how you win. And a team like Wake Forest that's trying to compete in the ACC, they don't have to win by 50, but you want to be in control of the game and really show that okay, a team like this can't play with us. We can go out there and you don't have to beat Clemson, you don't have to beat Miami or Florida State. Though I do think they beat Florida State last year, but you want to be able to compete with them as far as those teams. And I think that's where Vanderbilt has had their issues that they just haven't been competitive in the SEC and they get blowed. But if you can just stay competitive when you're at schools like them, uh, that's a big deal. So yeah, this is definitely an important game for Wake.
Absolutely. All right. Well, look, check out Blackjack TV, everybody. We're air on there as well. So check out blackjacktv.net. Got to give a quick shout out to the Jack.
Yes, thank you. We really appreciate it.
Yep. And then on Mondays, check out Fantasy Football Show. Good information going to be out there, and stay in tune with us there.
Yes, I received the A- for my fantasy football draft. So already that's a good start.
Ain't that something? And also check out every other Wednesday after the game. You can go back to YouTube and watch the episode from last night. Another spirited conversation, and it was definitely worth. It's definitely worth checking out after the game.
All right, I will have to make sure I check that out.
Yeah, check the ladies out. And
The
also,
ladies are very entertaining.
yeah, and also Zach. Man, you'll be back on Sunday with a triple option.
I will
You or
be.
you Orion, Coy. I mean, we got. Yeah, I guess you're going to sum up week 0. Talk about week 1. And I'm hearing that there's going to be some predictions. So I'm ready for that. And Mr. 41 may have a prediction or two himself. So yeah,
And we'll probably preview Jackson State and FAMU. I think they play 3 p.m. or
Sunday.
3:30 p.m. Sunday, and
Yeah.
not just for the game, but both institutions, or I shouldn't say both. Both teams have some external things going on around that are very interesting.
Yeah, man, yes. And the Orange Blossom Classic, it's good to see it. This is the second year in a row now for the Orange Blossom Classic. They brought it back from, I believe, back in the 70s was the last time they had it, prior to last season. And so it's good that they developed that. And those are
Yes,
two excellent programs. Speaking of FAMU, I mean, we'll get deeper into all the other stuff, but just watching them against University of North Carolina, as undermanned as they were, on the road, they look pretty good, Zach. So I think Sunday's game is going to be definitely worth watching. You mentioned Vanderbilt and the transfer from Vanderbilt, Musa. He man, he was throwing some bullets out there, man. He was really on his game against the North Carolina Tar Heels, their defense. So very good showing. They had a good receiver out there. They said um, that NFL have on their watch, and they play without Isaiah Land, who's arguably their best player. You know, on either side of the ball. So for them to give a good showing, be down maybe, I think they were down 2 touchdowns at halftime. Um, Carolina scored on fourth and goal to go up 14 late in the first half. For them to be competitive like that, undermanned, you know, Sunday is not going to be a cakewalk for either team. It's going to be worth watching.
Well, they were, and as you said, we'll get into more, but I was very impressed. Very competitive, having 26 players out because of academic reasons. I think they're even still they're down to 19 now. Now, what I'm looking for is, was that North Carolina playing down to the competition? Was that FAMU rising to the moment? And you know, now that you're going up against Jackson State, a team that looks like you, are you still gonna play the same way that you played last week? Because if they play like they played last week, I don't see how they don't beat Jackson State. Because I'm with you. They were very impressive.
Yeah.
Or it could be is North Carolina maybe not that good, and we'll see Saturday. I'm not sure they're playing it. Okay, North Carolina isn't that good. Like, this is the great thing about when you start the season, you don't really have an answer to a lot of these questions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But definitely, man, it's going to be a great matchup. And again, even with Jackson State, with another year of recruiting, um, we'll see how much did they are they going to be the team in the FCS that has the depth now, or will they be like a North Dakota State type team? We'll see if they improved as well. But I wouldn't sleep on. I think Orion was very high on Fam. You
Yes,
on the first episode of Triple Option.
he
Again,
was.
remember to tune in this Sunday for another episode of that 9:30 a.m. But yeah, so I think this is going to be a war. I'm looking forward to it. I really want to know. I think there's some more players for FAM that may become available. They're fighting some things
Yes.
daily, and maybe they'll get a couple more bodies back because it may not be against a Power Five team, but Jackson State is treating themselves as a Power Five team and bringing in
Yes.
players from Power Five conferences. And so, will the depth hurt them like it did in this first game? Because man, attrition was also part of the reason why they lost by many points they did Saturday. Because I saw players going down, and Dare was already shorthanded, so they really reaching. You know what I'm saying, to bring
Well,
players in.
well, when you don't have 26 guys, some of those guys are in your two deep, and that chase. So now the guy that was the backup has to be the starter, and his backup has to be the backup. And depending on where these spots are at, and I know some of it was offensive line, that's tough on you. And it's sad because this is all because of academic stuff, but a
And
lot of the
transfer stuff.
guys transfer, okay, but the part I got was that the academic advisors, the kids were doing what the advisors told them to do.
Yeah.
But we can get more into that. Like I said, we'll talk about that more Sunday. Now, I reserved the right that if Georgia loses to Oregon, then we'll be talking about Kirby Smart the whole.
Yeah.
We throw everything outside. This is just be about Georgia.
Well,
But
I can't. Yeah, I definitely want to. I definitely want to. I have a front row seat for this, but for you and Orion, I will really enjoy this. And so,
but
Corey,
but I'm
be
hoping
quiet
all I have
about
to
it.
say is well, I'm saying I hope all I have to say is that Georgia won, and then we don't even have to talk about Georgia no more.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah. Oh, also, speaking of Georgia, crossing the lines yesterday. Um, the calculator. He gave his friendly wager lines. And Oregon and Georgia game was one of the games that he selected to
Of course it
discuss as
was.
well. Yeah. So he has some things to say about that matchup. But yeah, looking forward to triple option on Sunday, Zach.
All right.
All right, man. Well, we just want to get in here and chop it up for a minute. And I know you have to catch what is it, Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings, the new series coming out on Amazon. So I have
Okay,
a busy night. 2 episodes of that. Football, TV will be flipping channels a lot today.
there it is. It's that time of year. And guess
Yes,
what,
it
man?
is.
I get to not only do I get to catch up on some of my wrestling, but I get to catch up on Kanan today. I finally have a chance to watch it. So I catch episode 3, and that way I can stay in step with you on that. But
I'm liking it so far.
very good. Yeah, I enjoyed the first 2 episodes, and I'm ready to watch episode 3. So I'm gonna get my peanut butter and jelly sandwich together, and then watch episode 3 of Raising Canaan.
All right, and then that way we can discuss because I I was talking about it with someone else that watches, and we got to be getting close to the point where Tommy and Ghost character are somewhere because they were corner boys. Now,
That's right.
I don't think they were corner boys for Rock, but maybe they weren't high enough up that they actually would get with Rock. Man, they talked about somebody on the old show, but I kind of have a feeling that we're gonna get a cameo of them second to last episode or maybe last episode before the season is over.
Yeah, man, that'd be cool. I like to see that. So they're doing a good job there with the Power series. I wish they had Tate there, but that's for another day. But maybe
Yes.
maybe if they can more people can shout to the roof about it. Maybe they can figure out a way to get that in. But he's also on Power Book too, so maybe they'll just throw more of him in there, and we'll see. But anyways, that
Yes.
it's good, man. I'm glad you was able to carve out a couple minutes, man. We chopped it up, and catch you on Sunday.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. It's always good talking to you. And this Mitchell thing is, as I said, my guess is New York fans are going crazy that the Cavs got Mitchell and they did not.
Yeah, we'll find out more about that backlash. But at the end of the day, I mean, the Knicks had. I mean, how many? I mean, what they have? They just brought in the guard. Brought in the guy from Dallas. They have Randall. They have Barrett. I mean, they got 3 left-handers out there. I mean, another smallish scorer. At the end of the day, maybe this is good for the Knicks, but we'll
Yes,
see.
they need to somehow, some way get a top 10 type player.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, that guard was Brunson. It just hit me. But
Yes,
yeah, Brunson.
Jalen Brunson.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, he's Zach. I'm Mr. 411. We thank everybody for watching and hanging with the Sports Brothers for a few minutes. But we
Yes, we
gone.
do. Have a good one.
See ya.